Here's a bold statement. Not all death metal is created equal, and Abject Cruelty by Last Retch is here to prove it. But here's where it gets controversial. While some might dismiss death metal as a monolithic genre, this album dares to challenge that notion, blending familiar ingredients into a dish that's anything but predictable. Think of it as the culinary equivalent of a perfectly marbled steak. The core is the same, but the seasoning, preparation, and presentation make all the difference. And Last Retch? They're not just serving up another slab of beef. They're crafting a feast for the senses, one that demands you savor every bite. Hailing from Canada, Last Retch's second LP is a relentless assault on the senses, a masterclass in what happens when you take the raw power of death metal and infuse it with nuance. Drummer Spencer Robson's double bass rolls are the backbone of this beast, adding a car window rattling depth to machine gun riffs that feel both primal and precise. Guitarists John Russell and Derek Brzozowski strike a perfect balance between the HM2 tone and the filthier production reminiscent of Gutless, creating a sound that's as thick and fatty as a well-aged ribeye. Vocalist Finlay Blakelock's guttural croak, meanwhile, channels the depth of Incantation's John McEntee, but with a revitalized edge that feels distinctly modern. And this is the part most people miss. While Abject Cruelty wears its influences proudly, think Bolt Thrower, Vader, and Incantation, it's the way Last Retch stitches these elements together that sets it apart. Tracks like Beasley Meth Merchants deliver pit-igniting chugs and straightforward drum rhythms that nod to classic Vader, while Resinous Drip of Decay flirts with Incantation's atmospheric darkness. Elsewhere, the band seamlessly transitions from Carcass-inspired technicality to the chuggy brutality of Skinless, all while weaving in moody solos that feel more like cinematic set pieces than technical showboating. But let's address the elephant in the room. Is this album perfect? Not quite. Some of the vocal samples, particularly on Dissecting the Leather, feel overly filtered and detract from the overall experience. And while the album's strength lies in its composition rather than technical flashiness, there are moments where the band's ambition outpaces their execution. The halftime verses on the title track, for instance, don't quite match the menace of the riffs. That said, these are minor quibbles in an otherwise stellar release. What Last Retch has achieved here is a modern death metal album that feels both familiar and fresh. It's succinct, with every song packing at least one riff that'll have you moshing in your living room. The production is fat, the tone is violent, and the energy is undeniable. This is an album that begs to be experienced live, where its cathartic power can truly shine. If you're craving something raw, unrelenting, and just a little bit crusty, Abject Cruelty is your ticket. Here's the controversial question. Can Last Retch stand shoulder to shoulder with the modern-day death metal giants? Not quite yet, but they're knocking hard on the door. With a bit more technical refinement, they could easily join the ranks of the elite. Until then, this album is a must-listen for anyone who thinks death metal has lost its edge. So what do you think? Does Abject Cruelty hit the mark? Or is it just another slab of meat in a crowded genre? Let's debate it in the comments. Rating 3.05, DR5. Format reviewed 320 kbps MP3. Label Time to Kill Records. https://enus. Website Album Bandcamp. https://lstretch.bandcamp/album/Abject Cruelty. Releases worldwide. September 26, 2025.